Versatile Mage. Chapter 520. The Quiet, Handsome Man. Ah, ouch. That hurts. Softer, softer. Mo Fan's cries of agony from the infirmary continued to echo down the halls. Teacher Bai Mei checked Mo Fan's wounds once again, making sure he did not miss anything, before allowing Mo Fan to put on his clothes. The serum that Ding Yumian gave you was quite effective. It completely got rid of the hidden side effects in your body. That being said, the burns are quite serious. It seems like your flesh is quite solid. Any other magician would have fallen unconscious from the pain, said Bai Mei. Maybe my body is becoming resistant since I have been burned many times before, conjectured Mo Fan. Maybe. Teacher Bai Mei, can you please treat my useless summoned beast, too? He's injured as well. I'm not a vet, said Bai Mei with a dark face. Mo Fan almost felt like he had risen as one of the conquerors of the school after securing the 10th rank. Every student, both new and old, recognized him. Some stayed away from him, some purposely fawned upon him to get closer. Among the older students, Mo Fan was described as arrogant and proud. Among the new students, Mo Fan was highly respected, and almost treated as their leader. After all, Mo Fan was the representative of their batch who had secured a spot in the top 10. Usually, it was quite common for the new students to be picked on by the old students, either from not being aware of the rules, or not experienced enough to handle the duels. Their resources would be taken away, too. However, Mo Fan's achievements completely motivated the new students. There were factions among the students too, but Mo Fan did not join any of them. As such, many factions were holding out an olive branch to Mo Fan, sending out the people to try and convince him to join. Luckily, a lot of the factions were well aware that Mo Fan had no intention to join any of them. The average ones simply took note of him, while the reputable ones knew that Mo Fan was living in the same apartment as the Mu family's daughter, thus they simply did not bother to waste their time on him. However, the peaceful days did not last long. Some strong factions began to reach out their hands toward Mo Fan. Someone even took hold of the opportunity to reveal that Mo Fan was chosen to be a provisional candidate for the World College Tournament by the higher levels internally. It immediately placed Mo Fan in the center of the limelight once again. The top 10 in the fire school were basically ranked in the top 100 of the entire Pearl Institute. The experts in Pearl Institute agreed that the new student was fairly talented, yet he was still a distance away from being comparable to the top-tier students in Pearl Institute. Those concerned about the World College Tournament knew clearly that the candidates selected to represent their country must have strong leadership. Even the top 3 in every element could not make it, so why was a new student worthy of being given a spot? The guy had only entered the top 10 in his element school. It was uncertain if he was even ranked in the top 100 in the whole institute, yet none of the students ranked top 10 in the institute were selected as provisional candidates. What right did he have to be selected? Could it be that he was the true son of the director of the Magic Education Department? Have you heard? Demon King Mo Fan is a provisional candidate. He's been given a spot to take part in the World College Tournament. Bullshit. The candidates representing our country are the strongest that have been selected among all famous institutes to compete against the world. Let's not even mention that Mo Fan has just entered the top 10 in his element school. Even if he's top 10 in the entire institute, the top 1 and 2 from the other institutes are also competing for the spot. He's so far away from making the list. I think so too, but it was said that the source is reliable. Reliable sources, experts, those are the ones you shouldn't believe at all. Lots of news spread wildly in the school. Everyone was discussing Mo Fan's achievement of securing a spot in the top 10, but the news of him being a provisional candidate for the World College Tournament completely took over. Mo Fan was initially enjoying being respected by the new students and teachers, but when the news broke out, every student's eyes became bloodshot when they looked at him, as if a plague had just broken out in the school. Standing so high up from all the flattering, it's only a matter of time until you fall to your death. A guy like you is a provisional candidate. Even those from the same institute can beat you up, let alone the experts from other institutes. So that's the provisional candidate. He looks normal to me. Mo Fan was totally annoyed by the voices around him. He felt a strong urge to find the person who leaked the news and beat the crap out of him. However, it also showed how important the spot was to everyone. Both the experts who were competing for the spot and those who were envious at him despite having no chance to make it at all cared a lot about the World College Tournament. On second thought, it made total sense. The World College Tournament was held jointly by the magic associations of all 5 continents, and the most renowned institutes of magic across the world. Even though the teachers were not willing to solely rely on the outcome of the tournament to criticize the performance of each country, the young magicians were extremely passionate and competitive. Hence, the World College Tournament every year was super exciting, grabbing the attention of the whole world. The disciples of renowned families tried desperately to earn their reputations in their schools, yet nothing was as significant as taking part in the World College Tournament. Even as a reserve participant, the family which the participant was from would still benefit a lot from it. Normally, the factions would only put extra focus on Mo Fan because he had shown outstanding performance at school. However, after the news about him being a provisional candidate was made public, Mo Fan suddenly became a hot product. Every faction was keen to convince him to join them, even though they had not confirmed the validity of the news. As a result, the people at school were jealous of him, but the factions outside of school were extending their olive branches. Meanwhile, Mo Fan's only desire was to be a quiet, handsome man. Mo Fan only learned some time later that Tang Jung, the head of the magic court, was one of the authorities who had a vote in selecting the candidates. Tang Yu had already mentioned to Mo Fan about some gift she had prepared for him, which was simply the fact that she already knew her grandfather was voting for Mo Fan to be selected. Somewhat coincidentally, someone who had a vote in selecting the candidates from the Magic Palace had retired, thus he had given his vote to Councilman Zhu Meng. Meanwhile, as a councilman, Zhu Meng also had a vote in his hand. As a result, the person in charge of the Magic Palace, whom Mo Fan scolded a few times, ended up with 2 votes. Basically, any student with 4 votes was very likely confirmed to be selected. Tang Jung had voted for Mo Fan, and Councilman Zhu Meng, who felt the urge to redeem himself from his mistake of trying to kill the black totem snake, ended up giving the 2 votes to Mo Fan, too. As a result, Mo Fan, who now had 3 votes, was basically a provisional candidate. As the selection for the World College Tournament was about to take place, as all the top students in those famous institutes were competing fiercely for a spot, one could simply imagine the hilarious expressions they had when they learned that someone was chosen internally as a candidate. For example, Dongfang Lai, who was ranked first on the Fire School's ranking, was still trying to earn his nomination. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.